on the last pod, there was a comment. It said it looked like a father speaking to his 5-year-old.
Yeah.
That caused great joy when I saw that comment.
Nice. Wait, was that on ours?
Yeah,
on like
last
the
episode.
C-Suite channel?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's how it is. All right. Well, we're back.
It's kind of true though. Like, look.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say?
Like this little guy. Like,
I mean, we're almost like
sitting at your feet, just trying
I mean,
to
we're like
absorb.
what, 9 inches difference in height?
What are you?
6'1".
9 inches would mean I'm 5'4".
Yeah, isn't that what you said? Or
I'm
you
like 5'5".
Oh, my bad. A rounding error.
Every inch counts.
It was a rounding error. That's true. Sure. Are you gonna get that? What's that like in like other like? It's not in the U.S., but you can do like shin elongating.
Oh, I saw someone
Have you seen
talking
that?
about that. No.
Or like all the bald guys that go to like Turkey to get their hair
they do their
redone
hair
because it's
done.
like super cheap and they do it all the time.
Oh man, that's hilarious. I love it.
Cool. Well, yeah, I mean, we're back. You have been traveling like crazy. One thing that some people might not know, in the public, Augusta knows this, but you do your turnaround videos. And then last week, you also did a little trip to a software summit, if you're willing to talk about that, or like a conference. And you shared a little bit with the Augusta team about really leaning into like your vision, your why, and like your leadership style. So I really just wanted to ask, like, what were some of the big takeaways from that conference? You don't have to get into specifics about like Copilot or like the people you talk to or name drop. Just like, it's interesting for, people that come to your conference. We listen to your content. We learn from you to hear like, what are you learning from other people? So not asking for name drops or anything like that, but what did you learn at this software conference you were at? What are some big takeaways?
Yeah, like I think overall, it's like part of it is just like getting reassurance that like we will get through the problems we're currently having with like the software, because like every single person had a worse story than me, and they like are successful. So like,
All right.
it just in the moment it's never nice, but it's like okay, like I know we'll get through this. I know that we will reach the goals, and like I have 50 other people that have told me that they've gone through. Like there's other stories that I was like, oh, like I would have quit. Like that was so bad compared to what I'm going through. So, but aside from that, like there's a lot of like little points here and there. But like honestly, the one that probably stuck with me the most is like a tangible thing that like is always in my head now, and that is the speaker was like, hey, who here knows Gary Vaynerchuk? And everyone raised their hand. He's like,
right.
Okay, what's like his big, hairy, audacious goal? Like, what's his why for his business? And like probably half the people knew, and that was to buy the New York Jets.
Right.
And the fact that we don't work for him, most of us never buy his products. Most of us have never been to an in-person event. But somehow we all know why he does business.
Yeah.
And like what motivates him. And it's like people would use it in a parody, probably talking about him. And so basically it was like, make your mission and your why so clear to your team, to your customers, and to the public that literally they would dress up in a Halloween costume or make a parody about what you say. And so that was really eye-opening to me. The fact that like a bunch of random people that have never met this person, never done business with this person, and don't work for this person, know their vision and why they do business. And so for me, it was like a good moment. It was like, and like, I know why we have Augusta, change the level of professionalism in the landscaping industry. Yep. And I've been struggling with Copilot because like really Copilot was built as a way to support Augusta, but like to other people that we need to be able to have join so we can sustain the thing. It's like, well, why do we do it? Well, and it finally like clicked. Like it was really fast. And It was like, my whole goal is I don't want any small business owner in the home service industries to not know why their business is failing. And so I remember being in this place where like you don't make any money, you feel like you're working crazy hours and you're working crazy hard and everything, but there's no money in the bank and you have no idea why. And so I don't want people to have that experience where they don't know why. Like I want to be able to have the data inside of the CRM to be able to say, hey, here's the areas you need to improve at. And like, here's why you're failing. Like your efficiency score in your labor is like 30%. It should be like over 70%. Here's what you can do to fix that. And your close ratio is way too low. Your pricing over here is way messed up. Like I believe all that can be fixed with software. And so, the whole, what was good for me being there was like I solidified why Copilot exists and like how that fits in the broader mission of like, that's why I do turnaround shows. Like I can only be one person going from turnaround to turnaround, from business to business. If I can create software that can basically take the infrastructure that I build around like how I diagnose a problem and just use the data points. I'm asking every one of these owners. I ask them their close ratio. I ask them how many employees they have. I ask them how many budget hours they have on the schedule. I ask all these things that is inside the software that could literally just, throw up, spew out the numbers and the data that I'm going to give them one-on-one.
Right.
And unfortunately, probably 99% of people that are struggling and watch the videos won't apply for me to come because it's intimidating to have the cameras. I get it.
Totally.
And so the hope is that we can use the software and that no one will ever not know why their business is failing. Like, hey, if you have a 30% efficiency score in your labor and I tell you that you need to fix it and here's how to do it and you don't do it, okay, that's on you. But like, so I can't fix your business for you, but I can tell you why so you're not lost. And that's the part, that's the feeling that I remember having and just feeling super despondent and like super low is like, it's not a matter of like, not having the will to go out and work hard or put in the hours. It's like, I don't know why. That's like really hard.
So what is the 1 sentence, 2 sentence why for Copilot now?
It is to ensure that every home service business owner does not know why they are failing. So they do not have that question mark of why am I failing? I'm working crazy hours. I have tons of leads coming in, but why is there no money in the bank? And I want to be able to have the software solve that.
Gotcha. And then just a little teaser. Is that also a book that you might be writing?
Well, yeah, like, so we have to, what we've been working on with Dr. Kashi is like, how do we, when you go to a turnaround, like why are you, cause like he's watched them and he knows. And so it's like, when you go to these turnarounds, you're asking like 30 questions. Okay, great. Why are you asking those questions and what is it leading to you in your brain? Yeah. Like it's actually really tough for me because it's like, I'm usually like, hey, I'll talk to you and like, I'll come up with an answer. It's like, well, how did you come up with the answer? Well, now I got, okay, well, I asked him about the revenue. I asked about when he raised his prices last. I asked about his efficiency ratio. And based on those three, I triangulated the fact that he is a really bad manager or whatever. And so trying to like actually get that all documented has been really tough. Yeah. But my hope is that like I actually have a diagnostic tool. So it's like, hey, if your close ratio is under 20%, here's what you do. If it's over 50%, here's what you do. If you're trying to grow, it changes. Well, now if you're trying to be as profitable, it changes again. So like it's a branching sort of methodology.
Like a framework.
Exactly. Yep. But it's like, it's tough because like to diagnose someone, like you need a lot of information. And so that's the part that I think the software can solve. It's not a CRM. It's like, we need all this data points to tell you what to do in your business. We just so happen that we send out your invoice and do your estimates and do your scheduling so that we can get all this data and then tell you what you should do in your business.
Yeah. Bad analogy, but I feel like having the software is kind of the 2D analysis, right? So you have the 2-dimensional of like numbers, facts, figures. But then being a business owner, there's the 3rd dimension, which is like you as a person, right? But it's like if you can solve the 2-dimensional problems, then they can focus on the 3-dimensional problem, which is themselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like having great software will never solve your business problems. Right. But it will give you the data required to make decisions clearly. And so I feel like there's other soft CRMs out there that do a way better job than us at gathering the data and keeping it, just stable right now, to be honest with you. But I'm just saying in terms of just like the amount of data they collect, et cetera, far better than us. What no one's done, the whole reason why we're doing Copilot, is to take that data and then actually like make it useful for people. Right. Like, I don't care that I have all these sent estimates and a whole bunch of accepted and a whole bunch of them like lost. I want to know, like, am I on a bad trajectory in my close ratio? And what can I do to make sure that like more people respond back to my quotes? And what percentage of my revenue was lost last year simply because people didn't give me a yes or a no on their quote? Like, I think people will be boggled, like their mind will be boggled by the amount of revenue that they just never heard back from. It's like you just didn't get a yes or no on like $1 million in revenue. Oh, you got a $700,000 business? Fantastic. It would have been 2 million, 1.7 or 1.3 was left on the table of just people that didn't respond back to your quotes. Totally. Like, that's probably where you should spend your time, not going out and spending money on marketing. And so it's just so amazing that like we've been talking with Augusta, is like, do you have a lead problem or do you have a follow-up problem? I think most of the time we just look at leads as their issue, but like if you go to these turnarounds, very few of the times it's like, oh, you need more leads. It's usually, I'd say 80% of the time, something else in the business that will have a disproportionately more impact than just getting more leads. Right. And so, unfortunately, getting more leads has become marketed to all of us because it's easy to track. It's easy to track cost per click, easy to track cost per lead, easy to track conversions. You have pixels and it's made very convenient. It's a lot more difficult to track all these other factors in the business. But if you have a CRM that's doing it, you can get all that data. And so Copilot exists to get that data and then make it meaningful to an owner so they never have the question of like, why am I working hard and I have no money in the bank?
Yeah, I think it's interesting too when you talk about like supplementary services to a business owner, right? So like a marketing agency, right? They can help them out, or like coaching, right? For them as a person or as a leader, right? To get better. And I think a lot of times we get distracted by that. And I'm, once again, not a business owner, but what I see is people get distracted by like the new cool, like sexy idea, which is like, oh, I can get coaching so I can be a better leader. That's great. I'm not discounting that. But do you know your numbers, right? Or like, oh, this marketing agency can guarantee me X leads per month for X dollars. And like their social media platform's cool. And I want to be a part of that. So like I'll pay them. And it's like, but are you tracking your numbers, right? And so I think what you're trying to do is just almost bring people back to the basics of running a business and not get attracted to all the cool, new, sexy ideas that are out there that they might be wasting their money on.
Yeah.
In some cases, coaching is great. Marketing agencies are great at times, but sometimes I think they're also a detractor from business owners.
Yeah, like it was like the math I ran with Augusta the other day. They had 38% close ratio if they just sent the estimate, and it went up to 65% if they simply did 3 follow-up calls.
Right.
And so it's like, well, do I, if I went out, I had a magic solution right now to double the amount of customers you got and the amount of leads coming in, I could make a gazillion dollars. What's not cool, and like no one will watch the video I made the other day about follow-up calls, is because it's not cool or fun to be like, oh, what do I need to do? Like, what do I need to fix how do I double my business? Call your estimates like within a few days of you sending it. Just call them a few times. And you like use these 4 tactics to be able to get the job on the schedule.
Yeah, one thing I say to a lot of owners when I do coaching is like your hottest lead is the one that reached out to you yesterday. It's not the next one. It's not the new one. It's the one that you already have their email. You already have their phone number. You've already been to the property. Like that is your hottest lead. Close that. Yeah. Right. And a lot of people think like, I just got to get another one. Like my close ratio is fine. Well, sure, your close ratio is fine, but what if you doubled it from fine to great? Right. And I think people don't want to do the mundane tasks at times. Right.
100%.
So, yeah.
I agree.
I don't know how we got on that, but we went from your why to your from the seminar. So anything else from the seminar, the summit, the conference you attended?
It was good. It was really good. Honestly, like I learned a lot about how to run an event too.
Oh, cool.
And so, you're dealing with an event that has a lot of money because the cost per attendee is like it's like 20 times more expensive than what we charge for a conference. Yeah. So,
well, they're also probably, I'm just going to assume they're trying to make money off of it.
Oh yeah. They make money at their events. Yeah. So, it's just interesting because like I can kind of, what I see is like, okay, could we use any of these elements without having to charge thousands of dollars for tickets at our event? Like they do really cool stuff. Like every time we were out for dinner and it was all scheduled. It was like a small group event, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't
How many
a big
people?
Conference. It was only 50 people.
Oh, okay.
And so you have to be over a certain amount of revenue threshold to be there. And so it was nice because like I was, from the software perspective, one of the smaller businesses that was in the room. And they just look at the revenue for, the software company. So anyways, I would say like things like, for example, we'd be out at dinner and then like we'd come back and like they had put like a shirt in our room, or like a book.
That's cool.
Or they had like a little gift bag thing for us, or like a journaling thing, right? So that was kind of cool. Almost every time that we would come back, there'd be something. And then I really liked the way they did some breakout sessions with team members, and we had to talk for like 90 minutes.
Okay.
So there's one of their one of the things that we did as a group that I kind of modified a little bit, and I want to use at conference. Cool. Just to kind of like get people talking to each other, not just like meeting each other, but like actually opening up about other stuff in life. And so I don't want to spill the beans, but like it's kind of like a really good, break out into 3 or 4 people and spend an hour doing this. Yeah. Not like 5 minutes, like really dig deep. And it's crazy. You get a bunch of people like that and you start really going deep. People are crying. Yeah. People are like, giving hugs to people. It was amazing. So cool. I would like to mix parts of that. I think it'd go a little bit deeper a deeper connection with the attendees at our coming conference next year.
Were most of the people in attendance there, assuming this was your first time at this specific event, did most of them already know each other, or were they aware of each other, or were most people strangers?
Most of them have been in the kind of mastermind for a long time.
Okay.
But then there's always a few newbies like myself that were there. So it's a nice. It's kind of like, it's very similar to the franchise and what we have at Augusta Nation. With all the owners, everyone gets to know each other. They see each other in the Facebook groups, etc. It's this group though, because they're so large, the businesses, they're usually the ones who are not very connected on social media. So it's like they really do see each other just like 3 times a year, but they've done that for 2 or 3 years usually. And so it's interesting just to see, like, you know, a lot of the people who came up in the program, I know they've made big exits, or they're the speakers at the event now. So it's like, cool. It's kind of like, it's cool. Like kind of like what we do with the owners of Augusta Nation. Like they're the ones who speak for Augusta Nation, and like you see that evolution and that progress, and like when you teach it and you get better at it. So yeah, it was interesting. I personally like longer days with more content.
Same.
Like we really only had 2 speakers a day. And like a session in the morning, session in the afternoon, then we had like a breakout session, then we had dinner. But like it was like not a lot of content.
Gotcha.
I like to have like more content.
Yeah.
Let's speed this bad boy up. It's just different. But also it was good because like we all are running businesses, and like we can't spend 9 hours locked in a room talking about something else. Everyone's like constantly stepping out of the room. You know, I had massive stuff happening that day last week, so it was nice for the moment, but like as an attendee, like getting the most value out of it, like my response back to them was like, hey, can we get like 2 more speakers in the afternoon? Like we don't need to be off by 2:00 and then wait for dinner till at 6.
Yeah.
Like give us some more stuff to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
But I'm also like, that's how I come from, like value per minute. Okay, so if I spend this much money, you know, can I get another speaker in the afternoon to make more worth it? So
yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah. It's good. It's good takeaways. I'm excited for our summit.
Yeah, dude,
it's gonna be good.
It's gonna be so good.
Yeah, it's gonna be sweet. Have we officially announced publicly kind of the dates and everything?
No, it's January 2025. We gotta
okay.
sign the contract still. We're waiting on a couple more things.
All right, cool. All right. Well, another topic I had that I wanted kind of your take on is they are out in the public. They're out in the wild now. The Apple Vision Pro.
Oh yeah, right.
I would love to know your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
Just give me your general kind of takeaway. People are using it. You've probably seen it on YouTube, TikTok. Like, what are your thoughts?
You know, the boomer inside me says like this is so bad for society. I think I saw one ad that was really good. That I think it's actually the use case for an Apple Vision Pro, and that is on an airplane. Because on an airplane, when you're working, it's annoying by the fact that you have people literally sitting next to you, seeing everything that you're doing.
Yes.
Like if I have my laptop out and I'm typing something personal, like there's 2 people watching my screen. And so like I've gotten security things on my devices so that people, literally just so that in planes, people can't read my screen. It'd be nice if I could strap that on, and it'd be socially acceptable because everyone else is locked in their own device and no one wants to look at anyone. It's like you are in your own space.
Yeah, on a plane.
Yeah. I feel like it'd be strange in like a coffee, you know, bar, or like you know, going to the office, stuff like that, like where you have more interaction with people. And I think the thing that they're going to work on, I would suspect, is like interlacing devices so that if you're watching something, I can see what you're watching. Like you can share what you're seeing with my phone, so we can still be in contact with each other.
Interesting. Yep.
Because that's the part. Like when you put that strapped on, no one can see it, and they can't. You can't even just like, hey, watch this, because as soon as you take it off your eyes, it's resetting.
Right.
And so that loss of community is difficult because it makes it where now it only works in a singular environment. You know, that's
it's not. Hey, watch this.
Yeah, no,
right?
you can't.
And then you just flip it.
Yeah, it changes to your eye, and you have to go into guest mode, so you have to sign in differently, and then it's like you restart your experience.
Yeah.
So right now it's very prototypey. Like I really think that it'll get popular when it becomes more of like a glasses type situation, and you don't have to have the battery wire. It's not as like wide away from your face, so it feels a little more less bulky. And ultimately, you can communicate around you without people being like, dude, that's weird.
Yeah.
Right? It needs to be more like
goggles.
glasses. Like if it looks like Ray-Bans, like I've worn the Facebook integrated Ray-Bans that record video, and I used those for last year at the 1 month challenge when we started the business in 30 days. And those are fantastic. If it gets to that form function, they'll be solid.
Yeah.
And I think it'll get there in like 3 or 4 generations. I'm really excited by the fact that that's how we're going to train people down the road.
Yeah.
Like we will train our team members out in the field. It's like, hey, grab this weed whacker, grab this mower, and in this room, I will train you for the next 4 hours. Strap on the goggles.
Yeah.
And we'll walk them through how to edge, how to do everything. And that is the future of training in lawn care.
Yeah.
I would say we're probably 5 years from delving deep into it and actually making that like a viable thing. But like, I really want to focus on the software stuff so that when the hardware, like that what's happening now, it catches up. Like you could absolutely down the road have people strapped in a office before, like, well, what about robotics and all the rest? Okay, let's assume robotics are 20 to 30 years away from being good enough. What could potentially happen in 10 years is you have people strapped up and with these goggles on, and they are controlling the mower that is remotely accessing through Wi-Fi or through data, and they're just operating everything.
Yeah.
That is interesting. So now all of a sudden, so those are like the positives. I think it'll go. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I guess we can stay on the positives and then maybe switch to like the negatives or the pros and the cons. Yeah. I think the positives, from a consumer perspective, I don't see it as like a daily usage personal device. Right. I think down the road, once again, if it gets lighter, more ergonomic, it's glasses style, then I see it becoming like the new iPhone, the new laptop, right? Your personal computing device. But right now, from a consumer's perspective, I don't see it. I think it's just you want to look cool. You want to say that you can afford it, right? From a business perspective, that's where I really tried to like hone in and see like, where could I apply this in a business if I were a business owner? I think training is one of the things you and I have talked about before would be great. I also think, and I'm not stealing this from the All In podcast. I just, want to say hand up, I had the same idea as one of those guys. But from a production perspective, I thought if you were in a warehouse or a production type environment, you could have like data here of like, okay, this is our current inventory. This is the current volume we're putting out or the machine rate or whatever it is, right? If you're in production or warehousing, that would be really cool. Because then every worker can like have that on. They can have real-time data, but also like have clear vision. Like the front of their screen would be wide open instead of like if you see like a Ford commercial, right? You usually see like they got their tools there on a workbench and then they got a screen here and then they got a laptop here and then they got like a big screen up there. Well, if they can have all that here and their hands are free, that would be really cool. So I think a production aspect, that makes a lot of sense. Training as well. Do you think in an office setting, this is kind of a thought, do you think in an office setting, like that will replace hard computing
down the
eventually?
road, I think like hardware is like a sunk industry.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's screens, we aren't going to need screens. Like why do I need this thin little piece of, whatever here?
Yeah.
It's just going to be but again, it's not what it does. I think what it does is fantastic. For example, walking around your house, like when I'm brushing my teeth, I just want to be watching YouTube right here.
Yeah.
When I'm but when I walk away, done with that.
Yeah.
And then when I get in my car, I just want a podcast player to be sitting right here.
Yeah.
Again, you can put all these things where you need.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like if you're baking, you can put the timer like right above the oven. You can have the recipe while you're doing it, like sitting right up above you. You can say like, is this a cup? Like these are the type of things, like especially with AI, that will become more and more powerful. The ability to have visual recognition and then take like what we've seen with ChatGPT is much more language models, but when it starts becoming more where the cameras start to understand what things are and then be able to digest information, that's what becomes really valuable. And it's started, it's there, but like when that becomes ultra, like when I can like, oh, I like that hat and I can purchase that.
That's cool. Yeah.
Right. Those are the type, like, that's a cool watch. And immediately it's like, here's a little thing. Like I can just buy now on Amazon. Which
Google's been working on that on their phones. Were you referencing that?
Yeah, like,
Google has integrated that on their cameras now.
And Amazon, you can scan too, right?
Okay, yep.
But like, think about like again, if I want to look at that watch, I'd be okay. That's a Casio. Great. I'm gonna go to Casio. Or go to Amazon. I'm gonna search it. I gotta find it. I'm gonna click buy. Yep. If my goggles could just be processing everything around me and being able to like, I think that's how it becomes super commercially viable. Is it recognizes things and then it's like, do you want to buy this? Like at any point in time, it's like, oh, those are cool lights. Order Amazon tomorrow, like buy now, right? Like that would be cool. And so the use cases is endless, and I think this technology is fantastic. It's will the form and the hardware be good enough for us to want to wear in everyday life? And I just don't generally believe it's not there in version 1. I think version 2 is gonna be such a massive step forward, though. Like they're gonna get this on hundreds of thousands of people. They're gonna have tons of data, and then they're just gonna like nail it on. I think a version.
Are you gonna buy version 2?
The only reason I would buy right now is for the airplane. Is the only reason.
I think you'd buy version 2.
Probably.
I think you will.
Yeah, but like every single Apple product, they do such a good job. Is like the way that they promote their products, like through influencers and things, is like Casey Neistat makes a video.
Yeah.
Marquez Brownlee makes a video, and they are the leaders in innovations. Like they're the early adopters, and so we're at the beginning of that phase of like the bell curve of early adopters, and then the early majority, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
And so I think that like when the AirPods came out, everyone mocked about like the big long stick thing. When the iPhone came out, people literally made like BlackBerry literally ran ads about how they're silly because they didn't have buttons.
Buttons, yeah.
Right.
It
so
can't
like,
be a professional device without buttons.
No, like this is silly, right? So technology will always be mocked at the beginning when it's still in the early adopters phase, and it's clunky and there's bugs, all the rest of it. So like it also gives me hope with like Copilot, for example. Like, yeah, I'm the butt of a lot of jokes right now. And that's not necessarily easy, but I do have a track record to look back on things like the iPhone or Apple Pro, like the big Studio Max ones, for example, like $500 for headphones. Everyone wears them now, right? iPhones, like who wants buttons on their phone? That's stupid. Yeah. But 10 years ago, that was like literally they were the butt of the joke. Yep. And so, anytime like we're instituting like AI at Command Center or like instant price forms, there's gonna be a level of pushback. There's going to be people that don't like it. There's going to be people that mock you. There's going to be customers that don't want to use your product because it doesn't have buttons on the screen. But you don't bet against technology. That's where it's going. And so either you're going to be ahead of it or you're going to be like holding on to your BlackBerry in 2024. Yeah. So anyways.
Here's the thing though. Okay, let me throw this out there.
Yes, the father figure here.
Yes, as the father figure. And this is going to make me even look more like a father figure. People still read newspapers. So, like, it just like...
Okay, this is the wrong person to ask. When did you last read a newspaper?
When did I last read a newspaper? I mean, I don't know, probably 6 months plus. Probably. Like, it hasn't been recent. I did look at one the other day, though. I saw one at the grocery store.
I honestly
I read the headline.
I remember the last time I picked up a newspaper.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not... I'm a nostalgia guy with newspapers.
Like, surely Linden Tribune is the one you were picking up.
Well, yeah, that was the one I looked at the store the other day. I was like, I looked at the above the fold, if you will. But, like, I think that technology, like, when do you think does it, like, fully get replaced? Like, when do we become a paperless society? When do we become a computerless society? Like, everything's a wearable. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like,
I don't think it's a matter of replacing. It's a matter of, like, where is the general population, right? Like, faxing used to be a big deal. Have you ever sent a fax?
No.
Right. So like there is still people that use fax. Like in insurance, like there's still like a lot of people that use fax machines. Yep. Like that's boggles my brain. But 95% of the population probably, and like definitely people our age, have never sent a fax. They don't use it on a daily basis. Yeah. So like technology doesn't die tomorrow. Yeah. Right. Like it's not like cordless phones became immediate. Right. It was over the course of 10 to 20 years. It slowly merges out until finally it's a minuscule piece of the market. And so, like paper will decrease. Why? Because if I don't need a screen and I can strap on goggles and see whatever you want me to see, why would I print it off? Right? And so usually what lags technology is slow industries. Like the government's always the last. Yeah. They're still having me send paper documents. Like what in the world are we doing? Yeah. Can I scan this and just send you an email? Yeah. Like they're always the last. But if you're trying to govern your business after that model, well, they're $32 trillion in debt. And there's a reason why. They don't adopt technology that will save them gazillions of dollars. Instead, they're like, we're going to spend $88 billion more in the IRS. Why? Just make it all digital so we don't have to send paper documents in all the time. Right? And so I think it's hilarious that like people in business somehow think that like using that archaic model of thinking that like, well, it's working well, this is what people have always wanted, is going to work. It will work, but it's going to keep diminishing. Like, you'd rather be on the right side of like history, which is that technology will eventually replace it. Like we will eventually wear goggles. They're not going to look like the Apple Vision Pros. Right. They will look like glasses, but like that's the way the technology is going. Yeah. And so, will we in 5 years be thinking about how does the customer come to AugustaLawnCareServices.com and be able to purchase visually looking at their lawn 100%. And so, being on the wrong side of that, like that is how, sorry, I'll keep going on.
No, you're good.
This is how you take an industry that is like super fragmented. The biggest players in our industry don't have 1% of the revenue. And so it's extremely fragmented. But it was the same way 40 years ago when it came to e-commerce or retail. Well, and now all of a sudden Amazon owns like 60% of online shopping. And it's because they were like, we're going to invest tons of money and we're going to make tons of mistakes and we're not going to make we're going to be the butt of every single stock market junkie and for 15 years until all of a sudden they're genius. And it's simply because they were on the right side of technology. And
it's even like if you go back to like the late 90s, early 2000s, right? The first cell phones were literally, everyone calls them bricks, right? Because they were the size of a brick and the weight of a brick. And like people were like, no, I distinctly remember my parents laughing because my aunt got a car phone. Like a phone attached to the car, right? And they were like, why would she ever use that? And it's like, nowadays, like, you couldn't even imagine at that time, like, you have a cell phone, you have the internet in your pocket, right? Let's talk about the cons, though. Let's because it is cool technology. I will not be purchasing one. I think I would wait for the second version or third version to purchase, but I think it's very cool. Let's talk cons, though. I think, here's where my first thought went. Okay.
I have the first thing that came to my head too, so go ahead.
All right. Well, mine is if everybody's using wearable technology, okay, you are then going to have to subscribe to like certain ad blockers or Apple so as not to see ads every single moment of every single day with wearable technology. I feel like it's just going to be another level of ads.
Really?
Yes. Because think about it. You're like, okay, I can look at that lamp. I want that lamp. Let me buy it. You click it. You say you want to buy it. And then 30 ads pop up because like, oh, but the lamp's here. What about here? Have you tried lamps.com? Right? Yeah. And you're going to get all these ads. And then you're going to have to subscribe to an ad blocker.
Okay, I disagree with this.
Okay, I'm just saying.
If you walk outside that room right now, you're going to see 50 ads without standing from that door. You're going to look across the street and you're going to see a logo. Yeah. That is an ad.
Gas station.
The gas station. Yep. You're going to see the Celsius logo they just put up on the gas station the other day. You're going to look down there.
Gatorade.
All of that. Yeah. Like, this is the question is, will there be more ads or will the ads we currently see just be replaced with digital things that are easier to change instead of taking $10,000 to change out the logo on the front of the gas station? Mm-hmm.
But I think they will be more in your face. That's what I'm saying, like a pop-up style.
I agree. It'll seem
like you would
need
to subscribe to not get like these pop-up style ads.
I agree that at the beginning it will feel that way. Mm-hmm. But I also think that if from 100 years ago someone stepped outside this, like, whoa, there's all this like commercialization everywhere. It's just like, no, like technology caught up and now we're all very used to it. So like, I agree with you. If we jumped forward 20 years right now, we would think that. Mm-hmm. But it'll be a slow boil, baby.
That's fair. Well, in Hawaii, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Hawaii has a state law, no billboards. Because they want like the natural beauty. Yeah. You can put signage on like your storefront and like by the roadside, but no like large size billboards.
Yeah, dude, digital billboards will become huge if everyone's wearing these while they drive.
Yeah, but then that becomes like a point like, well, can they outlaw digital billboards? Because they want it to be about the natural beauty of their state, right? Can they outlaw digital billboards?
They don't own the real estate though.
Yeah.
It's not real.
Yeah. I know.
Like if you have a deed, now this is funny though, because if you own a deed to a property, can you restrict digital placement of ads on your property?
Well, it's like people, when Amazon said we're going to start testing drones or Grubhub, right? Like delivery drones. And people were like, my airspace, they're like, you can't fly over my property. Yeah.
Well, that is defined though in your deed.
Right.
Like how much airspace
But then is there digital airspace?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's interesting. Very interesting. Yeah.
That's, like, I hadn't thought of that concept. I feel like there will be people that push against that.
Yeah.
Like there will always be people that want to be an autonomous citizen, a sovereign citizen, and I'm not using that in its technical definition, but
and I think that this is what's interesting about like the blockchain and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Because like, people laughed at people that were buying digital real estate. Mm-hmm. But if all of a sudden that real estate, you can put up a digital billboard,
right,
it becomes worth something, right?
It's weird.
Yeah.
But like it exists, but it doesn't at the same time. Yeah. I do like the idea. I don't want, we're on the cons, but I guess it is nice because for ad spend, it's a lot cheaper and it is more green. Like if there's a case for the green side of it,
it'll start more cheaper,
right?
Because if everyone's attention goes to it, and then the big brands move towards it, eventually it'll become priced
right.
Like all marketing eventually becomes priced correctly. It's just a matter of whether or not you're early or you're late.
Yeah.
Like Facebook ads is now priced correctly.
Yeah.
Because there's enough attention towards it. There's enough people on it. And like there's enough advertisers and users.
Yeah.
And so, okay, while you're looking at whatever you're looking up, I'll talk about the first thing that like MindCon. Dude, it's got to have some negative consequences in your eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. It has to.
Like if you just do this and like look at your fingers, like 4 inches away from your eyes and do that for 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, bro.
Yeah,
like,
I agree with that.
Like, now I understand it's translucent, and so you can kind of see through it, and so like it's gonna be different. But like, I just don't understand like the medical side of it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think there has to be implications to what it will do to your vision.
Yeah, and like your equilibrium and things like that. Like I need some stats on that before I do anything.
Yeah, like even just spatial awareness, like depth perception, that will get affected, I feel like, over time.
Yeah.
I will say on the All In podcast, they talked about it, and Friedberg said that there's a key distinction, though, between VR and AR.
Right.
It's not VR unless you do a full screen, like, block out.
Right.
But it's AR, it's augmented reality. So you do still have elements of spatial awareness, but at the end of the day, like, you're having digital images like forced in your eyes.
Right. And like the you come back to the mechanics of the eye. Like you either like it's like a camera. You either are zoomed in or you're zoomed out.
Yeah. The
Like,
focus.
so like yes, I can look over there, but like where is that screen? Ultimately the light is this close to my eyes. Like having a light that close to my eyes for hours on end, I just don't know if that's healthy yet.
Yeah. Well, you're on camera a lot too, and like we have some studio lighting.
It hurts my eyes, right? But like, if it's this close, like, yeah, it's like a lower penetration level.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be bad. Like these people, engineers, have probably figured out all this stuff in terms of making sure that your eyes are tricked into thinking it is 30 feet away. And it's tricking though. Like the actual mechanics, it is right here. Like there is nothing that can strip it right from the fact that the lights are right here, and you are seeing things right here.
Yeah.
They might feel like they're 30 feet away, but they are not. They're right here.
Yeah.
And so how they did that without messing up your eye, like maybe they're just geniuses.
Yeah.
And I would give them a lot of kudos, and they're definitely above my pay grade. But I want to see some data of people that have worn these for like a year and what happens to their eyes.
Yeah. Some people are saying that it's going to be like Disney's WALL-E. Did you ever watch WALL-E?
No.
So basically, we just we get really fat and we float around and we have like a screen in front of our face all the time.
Totally, dude. Well, see, the difference here is like this already exists. It's like they don't have goggles on.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's basically like people are saying it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Because in the premise of WALL-E, like in the screenshot, and I'll put it up, like he's trying to get their attention. The robot's trying to get their attention, and like they're just like they can't look away. Like they're so locked in. People are like, it's just one more step in that direction. So big con, I think, is just let's just call it what it is. Potentially further societal decay and communication breakdowns. Like you will just be so much more in your own world. And I know we talked about a couple pods ago of like what is community and like how do you self-governance and the family unit. Like this will just keep peeling back away from those.
Like what
levels.
is reality? What is relationship? What is love? What is vision? Like seeing things.
Yeah.
Like even the fact that like you have goggles in your head, okay? You could very easily turn these into night vision goggles. X-rays.
Yeah.
Like you could start to get really weird with this stuff.
Yeah.
And now it becomes society normal to have these goggles in your eyes.
Right.
Well, now I can see through things.
Yeah.
That's weird, bro.
Yeah.
I want to see a heat map of what's going on the other side of that wall.
Right now, well, I could stand behind someone at an ATM.
Yeah.
And I could just see like, oh, there's their card number, and I saw what numbers they punched.
But they're not going to need a pin because they'll just be doing this.
Well, yeah.
In space.
Yeah, right? Like there's so many, I don't know. Yeah, I think there are a lot of cons. I think it's just as technology advances, at what point do we start to like lose elements of humanity?
Yeah. The ship has sailed, bro.
Well, yeah. I think we both kind of agree.
The ship has sailed. It's not that I want these things to happen.
Right.
It's a matter of that these things will happen.
Yeah.
Because they are so programmed into our humanity. And they take advantage of things like the fact that we are constantly connected, that we can strap onto a different world. Like these things are things that we gravitate towards. And because of that, it will become commonplace.
Yeah, that our brains can literally be rewired to levels of consumerism.
Yeah.
And so like it's
and
over.
we want that. And we're just thrilled that we can look up and buy that light.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's weird. I think it's a cool product. I would want to use it, but yeah, it's the ship has sailed. I agree with you on that part. You're going to buy version 2, and I think you're going to love it. I think you will.
I would buy version 1 just for the airport. I hate flying, dude. I hate it.
Yeah.
So I hate everything to do with security, dealing with TSA, everything.
Yeah.
So if I could strap those bad boys on and still get all my work done, but also I am very aware of other people feeling comfortable. And I don't think someone sitting next to me doing this throughout a flight would make them feel comfortable at all. And so I would probably, for their sake, not do it. Like, I can't be the YouTuber guy, like, does like weird stuff out in public. Like, it's very difficult for me because I want people to feel comfortable.
Totally.
And I'm very aware of how they feel and things like that. And so I don't know if I could even now, like, even with them being like common-ish, like people know what they are. I don't want people looking at me.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to fly under the radar, do my flight thing. And so I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, version 2, I think I'd probably buy, especially if they can bring the price point under $2,000. It starts to become a little bit more reasonable.
I think there's also a case to be made for the PJ, you to get a private jet. I know you said you're not going to get one, but now it's like, well, now, you know, you can wear your Apple Vision Pros in peace on the PJ.
But you could buy a commercial and just have a private jet around
that's true.
you.
There you go. That's a life hack.
You're like, life isn't bad. But it's so true. That's why people will gravitate towards it.
Yeah.
Hook this up and you're in a different reality.
Yeah, that's weird.
Like, think of all the negative things it'll be used for to replace what we currently have in terms of like what you would go to experience. Well, now you don't need to. And like that's why that example is so, you know, pertinent. Is like, if you can just strap goggles on, hear and see and everything that you would otherwise in person, why would you go there?
Right.
Like, if you can strap on your goggles and walk through the streets of Paris, why go?
I thought about that too. Like, you could eventually stadiums.
Oh, yeah.
You can pay $100 and get a 50-yard line view of the game, and they'll have a post with all these sensors and cameras,
and you have all the stats up.
And then instead of 60,000 people in attendance, you'd have 600,000 because a bunch of people can pay $50-$100 to watch it in virtual reality.
And you can run out onto the field and literally get up close and personal to people.
That's crazy.
But like, there's so many negative ways this will be used too. Like, I think really mostly about like personal and physical relationships.
Agreed. Yeah.
Like that whole industry of porn and everything will just go nuts with this. And I think that's like very dangerous from a psychological standpoint. And there's a lot of other use cases, like even from financial perspective, I'm concerned about. But again, like, we are humanity. Like, I in general think that humans don't try to, like, we can't self-destruct. Like we generally look out for each other somewhat. And so we'll see what happens, but it'll be interesting. It'll be fun. And I think it's just like, okay, I don't make the rules of the game. How do we win within the confines of these rules? I can't change it. Like, I'm not going to change the direction technology is going. So it's just like, make sure we win inside that, and the people that I love win, and that's all I care about.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, any not financial advice for the people?
Dude, I totally forgot. Go ahead.
I honestly,
you don't have anything?
you know, maybe we just don't have any. We don't always have to give it.
Okay, let's do this. So 7 months ago, we had a little spat about stocks. Oh yeah, and you predicted you chose the over under on Disney.
Yeah.
So it's around the same. It's probably gone up like 5 or 10%. But you did choose NVIDIA, and NVIDIA is up like 60% since we had that conversation, 50%.
Yeah.
So you so far have won this. We are halfway through the year because we said we would revisit this in 1 year.
Yeah.
And I actually still hold by my thesis. Yeah. Because I think NVIDIA is so priced for perfection due to AI. Yeah. And I think that will eventually come to an end.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm looking at Disney.
Worth like $1.8 trillion. Yeah. And yes, it's a valuable company, but like, I don't think it's enough of a moat that they have to prevent people like Intel, AMD, and even Taiwan Semiconductors to come in and do stuff. But what's Disney up?
Disney. So this is last year.
We talked here. It was at 90 when we talked.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. So it's up, what, 10, 15, like 17%, something like that. Yep. Great. But yours is way up, way more since then. Because NVIDIA was at 500 when we talked last summer, and now it's at like 780 or 750.
Well, I thought you picked NVIDIA.
No. I said that NVIDIA was going to go down.
Oh, right. You were saying you would short it.
Yeah, and you said you would short Disney.
Yes, gotcha. Yes. It was a short.
So currently we are both losing this.
Yeah. Yes.
But I'm losing more, and we'll see what happens the next 6 months.
Why did Disney spike so much recently?
They had really good numbers on their streaming finally again.
Oh, okay.
Like it kind of rebounced.
Yeah.
And Netflix has been doing really good, which kind of correlates to Disney a lot.
Gotcha.
Netflix has been crushing it, dude.
Yeah.
They really got obliterated like a year ago. That's like the one time I bought their stock, and then they just went on a rampage.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was my
There you
non-financial
go. Good.
advice.
My non-financial advice is the Kansas City Chiefs are a dynasty.
Okay, yeah.
Patrick Mahomes might be the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put it out there.
That was pretty bad. Kyle Shanahan's pick.
Yeah,
there
it's
at the
rough.
end. That was pretty brutal.
I think like he's inevitable at this point.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to bet against it. It's kind of like Brady in the late 2000s.
But I'm not gonna lie. I wanted Brock Purdy to win.
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah.
He's a humble dude. I
Yeah.
hope he never changes. I hope it never gets to his head. I hope he doesn't go off the rails. He dresses like a regular dude.
Yeah.
he talks about normal things. He's not flashy and glamorous.
Yeah.
He seems like he has good head on his shoulders. Young dude. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't care if he doesn't win Super Bowls. I'd still choose to go out to dinner with him over Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that's fair. Him and his tight end George Kittle are like the exact opposite of like Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Like they're the antithesis to them. So
I like Brock Purdy. Good
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. All right. Cool. That's the pod.
Yep.